In this lesson, we're going to talk about a couple of concepts. The first one are called referents. Referents can be persons, places, or objects. When you use reference in ASL, a referent can be associated with different points in the signing space. Now, a concept related to reference is indexing. Indexing is when you point with your index finger, strangely enough, at a person who was in the signing area, a person, a place, or an object in the signing area. And we call this using a present referent. So if I would point to someone in the signing area, can be on either side or even in front of you, that location then would be the referent for that individual. And that's generally called a present referent. When the individual, if the place, maybe on a desktop or something, or an object are within the signing area. And if the person, location, or object is there, you can just point to them, and that means he, she, or it. Okay, and also remember that within the deaf culture, it is not rude to point. It's also possible to refer to a person, location, or object that's not in the signing area. And when you do this, you always want to identify that noun first, the person, location, or object, and then you point again to a location in the signing area. Then pointing at that person or thing that isn't there, and is an example of using an absent referent. That location then in space you refer to for that individual, location, or object. So if a person is not there, for example, you can identify him by spelling his name. Then you can index or set up that referent for them at a point in the signing area. So pointing that index finger to a referent within the signing area is a form of what is referred to as a space present referent. You're using space to represent that referent. Now that you have a referent for that person, once you have set up the referent, you can refer back to that point each time you want to talk to that person. Okay? So since ASL does not use the sign "and" very much when making lists or comparisons, ASL uses a concept called contrastive structure. When you were talking about persons, places, or objects, or referents that are not visible, these referents need to be placed in the virtual space in front of you or to the side so that you can refer back to them. When talking about people, places, or things that are not visible, again, they do need to be placed in the virtual space in the signing area so you can refer back to them simply by pointing. The first referent should be located on the signer's non-dominant side. That would be to the left for a right-handed signer, or to the right for a left-handed signer. And then the second location is to be located on the dominant side. After you refer to both of these objects, then the signer would return to the center position. The signer would turn their body slightly while referring to the referent and then return to the center. Establishing spatial reference and then referring to them using body shift with appropriate agreement between the body shift and the referent as you contrast various characteristics about those referents is called contrastive structure and is used when comparing persons, places, or objects. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of examples of contrasted structure right now. That's contrasted structure.